Right, hello guys, welcome back to the Golden Sky once again. It is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. I'm Tom, and welcome again to another video. Today, if you're joining me here on YouTube, welcome in, and if you could, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, all that good housekeeping. As usual, today, I've got another treat for you. It is Tactical Tuesday. Once again, Tuesday Tactics, as you liked it so much last week. Video did really well that I thought I'd do it again this week and see if you like it again. So if you do, let me know by dropping a like or comment and tell me. Would really appreciate that. If you're on the podcast, we love you as well. Drop a 5-star review, but like I said last time, there's going to be visuals today, so if you'd like to come and watch those, stop listening to the podcast now and come over to YouTube and watch on there, and you'll have a better time, I think. Okay, so before we get into the main topic of today, which is going to be having a look at what happened in the Liverpool versus AC Milan friendly, and what went well for Liverpool and also what went wrong. And we had some stuff that went wrong, definitely. Obviously lost the game, so we're going to get into that. But before we do that, it's important for me today to address the Alexander Isak news, updates. And again, today, it is Tuesday as of right now, so something could change later in the day or the week. But as of right now, the situation hasn't changed all that much from what we know it. We want Isak, Isak wants Liverpool, and we're just kind of waiting to make a bid now. Today, though, there was some interesting stuff, and I will let you all in on what I spent the day doing when I saw the rumour. And if you haven't seen already, the rumour was that Alexander Isak's house had gone up for sale in Newcastle. So this was a rumour started online, and of course various different Liverpool fans, including myself, started to check this out and found the listing on Rightmove. The listing has now since been taken down. It was only up for about an hour, 2 hours. And the reason why is probably because the Liverpool fans found it, and we're getting, and I imagine the agents and whatnot, we're getting bombarded with calls and requests and all sorts. So it's gone down, but it was up, and it was up for long enough to deduce that the house that had been found, in my opinion, was definitely Alexander Isak's house. If you haven't seen the pictures, go and Google it of the listing. I'm sure you'll find it on Twitter or Reddit or whatever, of the listing that was found. Basically, his house is up for rent, so he doesn't own it. He's just renting it, I guess, from probably the club, or the club rent it for him maybe. And now obviously he's leaving, or we hope he's leaving. This is a good indicator, and his house is up for sale. You could tell it was his house because there was the pictures of it from the outside on Rightmove, and coincidentally, last year, Isak's house was robbed. And one article had used a picture of one of the windows of Isak's house. And on that article, you could see the window that they used was on the front of the house on Rightmove. And people, including myself, lined up the bushes, lined up the trees, lined up the roof. And we were pretty certain that it was his house. I'm convinced it was. So if anything happens with Isak, I guess this confirms even more that it was his house. But if you haven't seen that, just take some comfort in that. It looks like his house is up for sale, in my opinion. The street view imagery lined up with the listing that we saw today, even though it has now gone down. So bit of movement there. And also some very, very minor news before we get into this as well. Tyler Morton, apparently Lyon interested in him. Paul Joyce just tweeted that literally 15 minutes ago or so. So could be going to Lyon. If Joyce speaks, it's usually true. So we'll see. But with all that said, should we get into why you've clicked the video and hopefully what you all want to see today? Let's do some tactical analysis, or at least have a look at the game and sort of discuss it. So like with the Stoke friendly from last week, I went and rewatched the game. This time rewatched a lot more of the game, I'll be honest, guys, this is mostly stuff from the first half, as the second half was a little bit all over the place, but there are some little bits and bats I've put in. I'm not allowed to show videos, so I have taken screenshots of all the important bits, and I'll talk you through it, and we'll see what we see together. So, with all that being said, let's get into the pictures. If I pull them up here, let's see, can I do this with the power of technology? Yes, we can. Here we are. Right, we've done this, everyone. So, okay. First picture we've got then is Virgil van Dijk on the ball. And I wanted to point out again here to everybody, if you didn't see the Stoke video, then this will be new to you. If you did, I mentioned it a lot. Our formation in build-up. So this was a familiar pattern we saw in the Stoke game, but we've got Robbo, Van Dijk and Gravenberch forming a sort of back three. Gravenberch played centre-back in the first half of this game. We've got our right-back, Lucas Stevenson, here, super advanced, even further forward than our two midfielders, who were basically our strikers this game. And then we've got our two double pivot players, our two central midfielders in Szoboszlai and Tyler Morton, creating this little almost vertical block in the middle there. You can see what a straight line they're in. And imagine if I could draw here. We've got what's a lot of people like to call the box midfield. So this is with the two 10s. We didn't play with the striker in this game, so we had Wirtz and we had Elliott in both in number 10 positions, or double false 9s, as you might like to call it. And you can see if you draw a line from Szoboszlai to Wirtz to Elliott to Morton back to Szoboszlai, it creates that box. This became really popularised when De Zerbi was using it at Brighton with Caicedo and McAllister as his double pivot. We signed one of those players and tried to sign one of the other players, so interesting. That was under Klopp, however, and it's happening here too for Liverpool when we play with the double false 9s. I think that's probably a common thing if we were to play with these two, because we don't have the focal point who'd be more here in this position, like Nunez was against Stoke. So that was interesting. We don't usually play with a box all the time, and the box is going a little bit more out of popularity at the minute. Of course, when someone starts something new, everybody disregards what they previously liked. Everyone loved the box for a while. Now everyone likes the, well, having as many people in your front line as you possibly can get, and having your centre-back sort of drop in and form a back three. Everyone likes that at the minute. We're not doing that. We're using our full-back as our back three. Although we will get into the defence a little bit more later on, and how it was dysfunctional at best in this game. But I just wanted to point this out and kind of lay the foundations for what I'm going to talk about in the rest of the video. So, Van Dijk has the ball. He's going to pass this ball to Wirtz. You can see Wirtz picking up this lovely bit of space, as he always does, making himself available for an easy pass. It's very clever movement. He'll often run towards the defensive line and then check back really quickly, so the defender can't come out with him, and he has a little bit of time to move the ball, which is exactly what happens here. If we can move the photo on, there we go. So the ball goes into Wirtz's feet, and the quality he has, again, nothing crazy here that he does, but what I've noticed a lot in the two halves of football, basically, that I've watched him play for Liverpool, is everything is first touch with Wirtz. Like every single thing is one touch. The speed of play, the tempo is top quality, and this is just an example, really, to show you all how involved he's going to be in our play again. And even though he's playing number 10, he's really our dictator of play, or seems to be anyway. So he just pops this one back out to Robbo. And you can see, I just wanted to point out how eager he is to receive the ball again. So he's played his pass, he's moved, he's now behind the midfield again. You can see he's in this pocket of space. This is where he operates. And Robbo's going to find him again. You can see the body position he has, ready to receive the ball, which is exactly what happens here. Gets on the ball, plays it out wide to Rio. Nothing comes of this, but just thought it was interesting to point out our structure and kind of how involved Wirtz is in the play. Again, you can see here the 3-2-5. It's almost turned into a 2-3-5 with Robbo pushing on a little bit. Centre backs, the three midfielders with Robbo, and then you've got Rio, Wirtz, Elliott, Lucas Stevenson in that number 10, like we saw Szoboszlai, and then Salah is down on the right wing. We'll get to Salah in a minute. So nothing comes directly from that clip, but just moving on to the next one. We've got, again here, a bit of build-up from Liverpool. We started really well in this game. You can see less than a minute in here, and already some stuff to show you. We're actually pretty good on the ball in this game. So again, we've got sort of the back three with Robbo, Van Dijk and Gravenberch, who's a little bit wider here, and the double pivot. You can see Szoboszlai is playing this ball to Tyler Morton, which is the entire design of the double pivot, and this is what Slot likes. He did it a lot last year with Gravenberch and McAllister as well. Short passes to move through the play. So, and it goes to Szoboszlai, over to Morton, opens up the play because he's got lots of time. This player's coming to pressure him, but he's got plenty of time to pick his pass. Gets it to Gravenberch, nothing crazy here. And the ball goes wide to Mo Salah. Eventually, here we go. So, goes to Stevenson first. He just moves it on. And Salah has the ball. So, you can see how wide he is here. Again, this is something I wanted to bring up because in previous years, not necessarily last year, but when we first signed Salah, we often saw him mainly get the ball here in this, what is known as the half space. And he was very much, he'd get the ball, maybe roll his defender, have a shot. He didn't really always too often in build-up, especially receive the ball so far wide until last year, mainly, when he became much more of a creator. And as we know, he's adapted his game to be genuinely one of the best passers in world football from this position and in the world generally. So I just wanted to show again here how that plan looks to be quite similar as it was last year. With Salah receiving the ball wide, he's got options here where he can take on his fullback. Maybe if we had a number 9 playing, maybe Hugo Ekitike or Alexander Isak, he's got the option to kind of cut the ball onto his left foot and produce this back post cross, sort of a loop-in back post cross that we liked to do a lot last year. You think of Gakpo cutting in, finding the back post. We like to do that type of cross. We don't have that in this game. You can see Wirtz here and Elliott is our other striker, and the positions they are is not really where you'd want your striker to be, but neither of them are strikers. So there you go. What Salah does is move the ball infield to Tyler Morton, and you can see immediately he's going for the return. He wants to drive into the dangerous areas through a 1-2 rather than a dribble, rather than starting there. He's actually passing the ball into that area. And it works. We get the ball to Salah in this really dangerous area. Now, again, nothing actually comes from this. He loses the ball, perhaps a little bit of sharpness lacking there from Salah. But you can see the situation he's in. If he has the ability to take a shot here, maybe he found this far corner. Maybe he could play another 1-2 with Wirtz here, or if he had the striker with the physical presence, could hit Ekitike's feet. Maybe he holds the ball, finds Salah again. Salah tries to dribble and loses it, but I just wanted to show the kind of situation that we end up in, and the way that Salah looks like he might be playing again next year. If you can take anything from this game, is similar to last year when he's very wide in his starting position, which, yeah, it's interesting. Okay, moving on to the next clip then, something a little bit different here than what we've been looking at over the last couple of games. So Stoke never really had a situation in the minutes that we saw of that game anyway, where they had the ball in defence, sort of rested possession here, passing the ball around, trying to build up from the back. Milan, much better team, and we obviously saw the full 90 minutes of this game rather than just 13 minutes of highlights. Most people don't consider these highlights, but again, if you like tactics, you like looking at this type of thing, pressing structure, then this is a highlight. So this was a really interesting one. Got the AC Milan defender with the ball. They also played a sort of 3 at the back system, so similar to Stoke. Pavlovic has the ball. He's going to go inside to the goalkeeper, and you can see Harvey Elliott's tracking him. And Liverpool are getting into their press. And what I wanted to point out here is it looked to me like we're going for the approach of a man-to-man style press, which last year was popularized big time by PSG, who many regarded as the best team in the world last year. They definitely were, in my opinion. They easily won the Champions League. They beat us, they knocked us out, and we found it really hard to build up against them because they were elite at this man-to-man press. What I mean by that is, if you take a look, Elliot's on the goalkeeper. He's just pressed this centre-back. Salah is not really with a man, but his job is the full-back here. You can see Morton really pressing onto the midfielder. Wirtz has kind of got two jobs at the minute because Szoboszlai is not quite up with the play, but that'll develop in a second. So Wirtz is going to go to this centre-back, and you'll see Rio in the next picture is right on this player too. So again, you can see the man-to-man across the whole pitch. Stevenson tight to Pulisic. Szoboszlai tight to Loftus-Cheek. There's no way this ball can come down here. It's a dangerous pass if they try it. Wirtz has got sort of two roles. He's now moved on from the centre-back. He's got to block this pass. Elliot's just pressed the keeper. Salah's still with this full-back, and Morton is still with his midfielder. So there's nowhere really for Tomori to go in this situation, and that's because of our man-to-man. This is very brave. If you get this wrong, teams can easily cut through you. If you remember, Leeds did this with Bielsa when they got promoted, and it worked some games really well, and it worked other games where their games would just be chaos, and they'd get counter-attacked and cut through, and there'd be goals and goals, and it was just a bit of a mess. But they weren't as high quality as Liverpool, as PSG, as other teams who are doing this man-to-man, and it's becoming more common in today's game, to be honest, a man-to-man sort of press. So we press well, the ball goes back. That's the only place it could go, and again, you can see the man-to-man taking place, so the ball's going to go back to the keeper. You can see there's a little bit of distance between the players here. Szoboszlai in the midfielder, Morton in the midfielder, Stevenson's tight, Wirtz is pressing on, but as you see the ball go back, you can see how everyone moves around. So now you've got Morton's really tight. There's no way Maignan can give the ball to this midfielder. Salah is tight enough to this player. Maignan is not going to ever pass the ball here. The only option he's got, he can't go back this way because Wirtz has nicely curved his run to press the goalie. This is a very, very nerdy thing in football, but it's something that teams do now. When they press the goalkeeper or a defender, they will often not run straight at the goalkeeper, because then that allows the goalkeeper to pass the ball to either side. They will actually curve their press to the side they want the goalkeeper to kick against. So what I mean by that is, imagine if Wirtz was here where this midfielder was, and he pressed the goalkeeper like this. Maignan can just pass the ball here or here. But he will run in sort of a curved line like this. So then if he's on this side, Maignan can't pass the ball here. He has to go this way. And Liverpool want that to happen. You can see everyone stepping on. That's exactly what happens. Maignan kicks the ball long. There's a little duel over here. It comes to Morton, and we retain possession. Now, we win the ball quite high up here, and I wanted to use an example of this compared to PSG. So this is taken from the PSG versus Liverpool second leg last year in the Champions League, and I wanted to point out how PSG did this because they were the best in the world at this last season, and it's a good reference for what we just did in the clips that I've just shown. So the ball is here with Van Dijk. It's just getting passed to Robbo, and you can see PSG set up with this lovely tactical camera that I found. So you can see Szoboszlai's here with Vitinha right on him in that number 10 that Szoboszlai was playing last year. You've got our double pivot. You've got our three at the back. Similar setup to what we've been seeing with Robbo, Van Dijk, Konate. This time we've actually got Trent forming almost a triple pivot. But this is because of Trent specifically. We know the qualities he had, and what we've seen this preseason is our fullback is less where Trent is here and more here in this area. But Trent, he didn't really seem to have the legs to be up and down as much in his later Liverpool years. And also we know how much of a threat he was passing from deep. So there was no need to put Trent here. That wastes him. We wanted him here. Anyway, we're not analysing this game tactically. We're just pointing out the differences between this game and what we're seeing this season. And the 3-3-4 is what we're seeing here, whereas in preseason so far we've seen a 3-2-5. So yeah, PSG lined up man to man. Vitinha here You've got Fabian Ruiz here, you've got Kvaratskhelia here, you've got Joao Neves here. Dembele's right on the ball. Barcola's coming in here as well. And if we just progress the play, the ball has to go back to Alisson. And you can see how tight PSG are. They're so good at this. They're so brave. They trust themselves. Dembele's just pressed the goalie, but now he's running back to Konate, so Alisson can't pass the ball here. Fabian Ruiz is really high on Gravenberch. Barcola's here. Robbo's your spare man, so really Robbo should move here, but this isn't what Liverpool wanted to do. Joao Neves is tied to McAllister. Vitinha's still tied to Szoboszlai. Kvaratskhelia is looking after Trent, who's stayed pretty much exactly where he was. And Liverpool are forced to do what AC Milan did and kick the ball long. And Nuno Mendes retrieves the play and PSG play out. And you can see how well they did that press in that just a few short passes they had the ball back simply because we had nowhere else to go. And I don't think it's necessarily slot copying PSG, but certainly taking influence from them. Let's put it that way. Okay, moving on to the next clip then. We have Alisson with the ball in this nice aerial shot of the game. Morton is coming to receive the ball from him. This is quite a common pattern of play now. The midfielder will drop in and receive the ball off the goalkeeper, which is exactly what happens. Morton gets it, and I used this aerial shot because it gave it as a replay, and I thought it was an interesting angle to see clearly what Morton's trying to do here. So the idea is to bounce the ball from the midfielder over to the centre-back, which in this situation is Gravenberch. However, Morton, this is where he has, unfortunately, not quite the quality that we need at this level. And he actually ends up passing this ball not to Gravenberch, but straight to Rafael Leao, who is not the player you want to pass the ball to on the edge of your own box. Just wanted to point this out. It's not a knock on Morton or anything. It's just something that Liverpool did wrong in this game, and maybe with different personnel it doesn't happen, but just wanted to point it out. The ball does go to Leao. You can see the dangerous situation this is in. We actually do end up recovering and ends up with a bit of a tame effort from Pulisic, who comes from deep. But it just shows the risk of playing out from the back under pressure. Again, if that's Gravenberch or McAllister, maybe the pass is made and this isn't even a highlight at all, but this was just something that happened in this game, and this is what we're looking at. So Morton, like I said, looks like he might be going to Lyon if that materialises. So yeah, this is just an example of how difficult it actually is to play centre midfield for Liverpool. Okay. Again, we have Morton here. This is actually the start of Milan's first goal, and I wanted to use this example as the start of the move because Morton has the ball. He's under a lot of pressure from a lot of different players. It's a tight area, and he wants to move the ball to Szoboszlai. Now, I'm not quite sure what Szoboszlai would have done if he got the ball. He actually doesn't. Loftus-Cheek steps in and intercepts it, but let's say Morton gets this pass through, like, I'm not sure where Szoboszlai is going to go. Tomori's already onto the pass. There's too many players around for Szoboszlai to take a touch in here. It's just not possible. The only plausible thing I could see him doing is passing it back to Robbo, who's asking Morton for the ball right now. But you can just see this is where we were a little bit disjointed in this game. We've got Rio, Szoboszlai, Morton, Wirtz, Elliott, Salah. That's our 2 midfielders and 4 attackers all in a straight line, pretty much on the edge of the box. And then you see we've got Robbo, Gravenberch and Stevenson. So if you counted all those players, you'll get 9. You're obviously missing Alisson. And then you're wondering, well, where's our other one? And the answer is, it's Virgil van Dijk, and he's way back here off the screen. And it's not a position fault of Van Dijk, it's a position fault of mostly Gravenberch, but predominantly these 3 players are all just too high as a group, as a collective. I don't necessarily blame Gravenberch, seeing as he's not a centre-back, and maybe as a midfielder in the position he's used to playing, this is more of a spot he might take up to sort of protect the back 4. But you'll see, when we lose the ball here, Morton gives it away, Loftus-Cheek intercepts, and AC Milan get the ball. You can see the problem we've got straight away. Gravenberch is too deep to affect this whatsoever. He's in sort of no man's land, and he's not high enough to get tight to it. So he's not high enough to get tight, and he's also not far back enough to help out Van Dijk and cover the space where the ball's about to go. You can see Leao and Stevenson are about to engage in a foot race. That's not good news for Luke Stevenson. It's not good news for anybody, as we see later in the second half. You might think, well, if we had Bradley there or Frimpong, it's a different story. Possibly Frimpong. Bradley, you will see in the second half. Lucas Stevenson, no chance, unfortunately. Pulisic has the time to play the ball, and we're just too exposed, guys. It's simple as that. This is why we got counter-attack so much. Playing a midfielder at centre-back doesn't help, but overall, just the structure, the rest defence of the team, as it's called, and that means the way you set up to defend when you have the ball. So then if you lose the ball, how you're able to react to that situation. And it wasn't very good here because Pulisic can play this ball, as you can see, into the space. Leao is currently leaving Stevenson for dead. Pulisic plays it. You can see the distance Leao's created from Stevenson. And now we move on to looking at Van Dijk. So here he is. He's appeared on the screen. You can see there's literally not a single player in the frame other than those. Stevenson sprinted back. Van Dijk was already back, and Leao sprinted onto the ball. And this is where Van Dijk, for me, can do a little bit better, perhaps, because he actually comes across to Leao pretty well. And in this situation, his entire idea is to send Leao onto his left foot, which is his weaker side, and either block the shot or force a near post shot that Alisson will probably save, is what he's thinking. However, I just don't think he quite does enough. For me, he just doesn't quite do enough. And what I mean by that is, here he seems to have the situation under control, but Leao just moves the ball further down the line, and as we'll see in a minute, unleashes a brilliant shot. And I just think, could Virgil van Dijk get across to Leao a little bit quicker and maybe put him off a little bit more? Because you see, when he ends up taking the shot, Virgil's trying to block it, but he's just not quite close enough. He's a smidge off. Leao, a quality player, top player, takes a brilliant shot. Lots of power, great placement. The ball ends up pretty much here. You can't quite see it, but it's just in the top corner here. It goes right over Elton's head. You see other Liverpool players have sprinted back, but they're too late, and AC Milan go 1-up. And it was just like that, happened in a flash. And that's how easy it can be when you get counter-attacked, when you're not set up properly defensively. So this clip is once again to highlight Florian Wirtz, as it's very easy to do. He is magnificent. You can see Elliott here over on the far side calling for the ball from Szoboszlai, and also you've got Andy Robbo telling Szoboszlai to pass the ball to Elliott. However, Mr. Wirtz has other ideas, and he's already clocked that he's going to want the ball here. You can see he doesn't look like he's interested in the play. All of a sudden, comes to life, receives the ball to feet, and has made a little bit of space from this midfielder. What he's so good at doing is taking the ball and transitioning into an attack. And you're going to see how he makes this into a golden chance, to be honest, from basically nothing in the play. So he receives the ball. He's able to turn, open up the whole pitch going forward by just a simple pass into Morton. But he just draws the gravity of Pulisic, who steps off Morton, and Richie, who's marking Wirtz. The ball goes through and eventually wide to Stevenson. Wirtz continued his run, and Stevenson plays a really lovely pass, actually, right into his path. And this is where his touch is so good. First touch is excellent on the outside of the right foot to kill the ball right in his path. Salah recognises the danger, and Wirtz finds him with, again, his second touch, the outside of his foot. It's a perfect ball. You get Salah in this position, it's an absolutely golden chance. And 9 times out of 10 in the Premier League, he's going to tuck this one away. He's either going to hit it in this far corner, or he's going to whip it in the near post, most likely the far corner. How many times have we seen him do that for us? But this being a friendly, and Salah, I think, just trying to get Wirtz a goal, unselfishly, he tries to thread this ball back to Wirtz. Do I have that on the next picture? I do. So he tries to pop this one back to Wirtz. You can still see the space he has, even with that touch, to set himself to give it to Wirtz. Pavlovic intercepts, and we lose the attack. But on another day, Wirtz has just created a goal from, let's go back to the position that he was in when we started this attack. From here, in just a few short passes, and all through the very, very simple work of Wirtz, just receiving the ball, advancing the play, quality first touch, we end up here with Mo Salah, cut through Milan, all through the ability of this man, and we were unlucky not to score. Okay, next clip then. Here we have, again, Milan with the ball. And this is just really not even a clip, it's just more one picture, and it's again to show our defensive frailties in this game. This is a bit of a transition. We sort of lost the ball down in this corner, and I just want to point out again the defensive line. So you've got Robbo, the left back, Morton centre midfield, Gravenberch centre back, Stevenson right back. Here's our other midfielder, Szoboszlai. And this looks like a back four, and I mean, this is just a ridiculous photo, really, when you think about it. Van Dijk's somewhere back here, again, in a position where centre-back would be. This is actually Milan's whole team, so they've been pushed right back. But it's just an insane way to set up, and I put it down to Gravenberch, to be honest, being too high. Not due to his own real fault, but just the fact that he's not a centre-back, and he's used to playing in midfield. Yeah, it just causes issues, and I just thought that was, again, another reason to point out as why we got counter-attacked so much on the weekend. Right, next one. Again here we have Gravenberch with the ball. This time Liverpool have the ball in defence, and Gravenberch has the ball as a more traditional centre-back position. You can see Milan stepping on to press us. Elliott's shown for the ball over here, and Gravenberch could play this ball into his feet, but he remembers, oh shit, I'm Ryan Gravenberch, basically, and decides to just burst past Leao, which you'll see here. This is something maybe an advantage of having him deep at centre-back, is he has this ball carrying ability that maybe Konate doesn't have, but we obviously don't want to see him at centre-back all that often. And then he produces one of the best passes of the game, maybe the best pass of the game. You see where he actually hits the ball from, it's so deep, and it ends up landing right over here. The ball is just about to land, and Rio is super high and wide, getting onto that ball. Great run by Rio as well. Tomori tracking him. Brilliant ball from Gravenberch, gets us right out of the pitch, and this is actually what we score from. So, great play from Ryan, I wanted to point that out. Rio gets into this position, and this is something I touched on in the Stoke video as well. It seems like our tactic a lot, especially when Rio gets the ball, because he likes to dribble, is to dribble as close to the byline as we possibly can. Even if we don't get the ball across, but to push the ball out and sort of suck Milan's defence back towards their own goal and have the ball go back out to the edge of the box, which is where Szoboszlai is. And you can see in a minute he's about to receive the ball here, which happens on this picture. And then Szoboszlai, as we know, produces a brilliant finish. Just casually pops the ball over in Maignan top corner. But before we look at that, I thought it was worth having a little look at Salah's arms. He actually, I don't even know what happened to his arms here, but mutated his arms. So good to know that Salah has got mutation abilities this season. Ball goes in the top corner. Happy days. Okay, next one. Again here we have Gravenberch with the ball at the back. With just one possession, so him and Stevenson are a little bit out of sync. And the ball does go to Stevenson, who finds Morton, showing nicely in the middle. And you see Gravenberch is making the move to receive the ball from Morton. And this is how Slot likes to build up. Very short passes, very brave, vertical passes into midfield, with the fullback usually coming around to be the receiver of the ball. We'll see it with Kerkez a lot this season. We'll see it with Bradley as well. Morton does well, finds Gravenberch, and he then finds Elliott, and we're out of pressure. That was a lovely example of how we were able to handle Milan's pressure and build up from it. Elliott, as we know, doesn't quite have the legs to get away from defences or people chasing him. So he gives the ball to Szoboszlai, who does have the legs. It's one of Elliott's deficiencies, unfortunately. Lots of space here as we beat the press, and Szoboszlai runs forward. And I wanted to put this photo on just to show this is where I think Szoboszlai can improve as a player. We know he's a great player, but I think here he actually picks the worst option of all the options he has. For me, I think the best option is to give this ball to Salah. Never a bad choice. But I think it's an easy pass. He can roll it into Salah's path, and Salah's 1v1 with the centre-back, running towards the box. You know, he could even stay wide and deliver a cross with the outside of his boot, like we saw him do to Wirtz. That's option one. Option 2 is that he actually pings this ball into Wirtz's feet, into his path. Guarantee you Wirtz would kill the first touch, and he'd be then bearing down on goal right in the centre with just this centre-back to sort of beat. I believe if he plays this ball with enough pace and into Wirtz's feet, that was a better option. What he actually decides to do is go all the way to Rio and Gamoa. It's not a terrible ball, but he underhits it as well, and you can see when Rio actually receives the ball, how far back Milan have actually been able to retreat, and now it's less of a chance because Rio's had to slow down thanks to Szoboszlai's pass. So I think Sobo can improve at that. Rio, though, is electric, as we know, and drives straight at Tomori, gets into the box, drops a little step over, and beats Tomori, just waltzes around him like he isn't there. This is a real top defender, Tomori, played for England, I believe. Fires a shot with his left foot. Decent shot, but Maignan is able to dive and save on the weaker left foot. Wanted to show the confidence of Rio, wanted to show that move. It was a nice move, but just a little few bits that we can do to make it even better. Going on to the next one then, we've got Morton and Wirtz going to be playing with the ball in midfield, and this again is all about Florian Wirtz as he creates the second chance that we should have scored for his second assist of this game. Believe it or not, this is going to create a brilliant chance from this sort of settled possession. So Morton is going to give him the ball. You can see Richie has clocked onto this and is going to come and pressure him. But Wirtz reads the weight of pass perfectly, receives the ball on his back foot, which is something I personally was taught from different academies at a young age. Receiving on the back foot is how you want to receive the ball when you want to advance the play, which he does here. Completely takes Richie out of the game. Just completely kills him with his first touch. You can see again, he's managed to move the play from settled possession to bearing down on goal, and that's what he does better than pretty much anyone else in the world. He carries the ball forward, he gets into a really dangerous area. You can see the Milan backline retreating, and he also knows the perfect time to release the ball, which is exactly what he does. He releases the ball perfectly into Elliot's path, and if Elliot wasn't Captain Hook, or his name was Hugo Ekitike or Alexander Isak, and he could hit the ball with his right foot, then we'd probably score here. Elliot actually does nothing, believe it or not, here. He literally lets the ball run all the way across till he can catch up with it with his left foot, turns around and passes it back, and I thought that was pretty poor from Elliot, to be honest. If he just hits this with his right foot, maybe at this far corner, we might score. He doesn't have the confidence, so he doesn't take the shot. But brilliant from Wirtz. Just really good. Again, another example here of Liverpool trying to defend in this game and doing it poorly. This is our entire team, bar Salah. So, again, Van Dijk is back here, and then you've got Gravenberch is here. Robbo is right up, trying to press. Stevenson's right up, where he probably was in the move that was developing. AC Milan, they've got 3 players in behind, essentially, here. Van Dijk's lurking somewhere at the back, but they actually do manage to work the ball past, and you can see Van Dijk has to try and step in to win it. He's never going to win this ball here, and he doesn't win the ball. Milan do break. They don't do anything with it. We managed to catch up, but you can see the problem that we had. Gravenberch is actually back this time, but we're just too high, and there were too many players that were high. Slot will have obviously seen this. If I can see it, Slot can see it. And I do think it's just a pre-season personnel thing, because it didn't happen last year, but definitely the reason why we were counter-attacked so easily in this game. You can see now we've gone to the second half of the game. Got all the different people coming onto the pitch with these lovely LFC TV all red video graphics. And this is an example Slot himself pointed out. This is Milan's second goal, and I wanted to show the duel that Slot referred to as being too weak when Milan chipped this ball down the wing. You can see again sort of the man-to-man. Frimpong's right up, Doak's right up, Gakpo's right up, Gravenberch is right up, and you'll see they chip the ball down the line because it's the only thing they can do. It goes into Okafor's feet, and you'll see Bradley is not tight enough to Okafor. He's concerned with Leao running around him, as he should be, but in doing that and not being tight enough, he actually allows Leao to get the ball anyway, so he'd have been better off getting tight, and I'll show you an example of that soon. And then Konate has a chance to make a tackle, but he doesn't go strong enough in the tackle, it ricochets about a bit and comes to Okafor. And that was what Slot was referring to. These two over here, I blame them both. They're both at fault, in my opinion, not being strong enough in the duel to win the ball. Okafor breaks free, and you can see Leao again. He's about to give Bradley a run for his money this time, not Stevenson. Bradley a lot quicker, but Leao too strong, too fast, drives forward, gets to this position. Tsimikas has no choice but to come across, and Loftus-Cheek will receive this ball. Great timing on the pass by Leao, and Loftus-Cheek scores. And that, again, is an example of a counter-attack from us. Not necessarily all being too high this time, just not being aggressive enough when we did press and go high. So if we move it along, we've got this time Kirkes has the ball. This is Milan's third goal. And again, here we've got Kirkes. The shape of the team is a little bit, what's the word I want to say here? Disjointed is probably best to say. Our left winger, Gakpo, in sort of, I don't even know what this position is, number 10. So here's Jones, our midfielder. Doak played striker. Frimpong, right wing. This is okay. But it's just a little bit all over the place. Kirkes finds Jones with a nice pass and goes to return. This is all fine. Jones should easily just pass Kirkes the ball, but as has been the criticism with Jones, he actually takes an extra touch and sort of delays the pass, allowing Tomori, or in fact it might not have been Tomori at this point, it could have been, I can't remember, to make the interception. And that's a criticism of Jones. And now it leaves us in a position where Kirkes is really high up the pitch, and it's a bad giveaway because Milan have lots of time to pass the ball forward. They get the ball to Leao. Konate is nice and tight to him, doesn't give him room. We've got enough players back here in the defence. This is just brilliance from Leao. Again, he flicks the ball to Loftus-Cheek, completely takes Konate out of the game, opens up all the play for Milan. You can see Loftus-Cheek has the ball. Salamakas is down here, free as a bird. Tsimikas is centre-back. Let's hope we don't see that in the season. Let's put it that way. And it's brilliant from Leao, poor from Jones, Salamakas. You see the space he has. We're so exposed again. Here's Jones now, desperately trying to work back and amend his mistake. But it's too late. Salamakas gets right to the edge of the box, fires the ball to Okafor here. And to be fair, it's a brilliant finish. This probably doesn't go in a lot of the time, but he fires it. Mamardashvili moving across his goal, back where it came from, into this corner like a bullet. So nothing the goalkeeper can do. And that was pretty much just poor play from Jones, to be honest. Another clip here. This is the opposite of what we saw with Bradley and Konate on the far side. And this was also something Slot brought up in his interview, something he liked. You see we've got the press on, and Milan are forced to chip the ball down the line. And you see Kirkes deal with this ball a lot better than how Bradley and Konate dealt with it. This is the aggressiveness of Kirkes, the intensity, as I pointed out a couple times with him. He's climbing on the defender's back to win the header. The referee doesn't give a foul. The referee wasn't giving many fouls in this game. Great header from Kirkes to win the ball. At the very worst, if this is the Premier League and the referee gives a foul, there's no danger. There's a free kick in their own half. They'll probably just go back. It's not a problem. Rather that than lose the ball like we did over on this far side and concede a goal. So brilliant work from Kirkes. We actually win the ball in the midfield, and it leads to this chance for Cody Gakpo, who almost scores. He puts it wide. It is a little bit harder than it looks on this still image, but yeah, that was all from Kirkes' header, and that is actually the last photo I have. I'm not going to show you the fourth goal Milan score because it was just Tsimikas popping their defender through on goal when our goalkeeper was out of the net. And our second goal as well, not much to really analyse. It was just more of a spectacle cross from Konate that Gakpo heads in. Great header, but nothing that I really want to show you guys. We've looked at a lot anyway there. I hope you did enjoy that. And we've still got more to come up. So let's get into the next topic of today's video, which is going to be my top 3 favourite Luis Diaz moments. Let's get into it. All right, so Luis Diaz's transfer to Bayern Munich is fully complete at this point. I don't know if Bayern have announced him yet, but he has flown to Germany. He's doing his medical, or has done his medical. He's left Liverpool, and I thought it'd be nice to sort of look through, or at least give you guys my top 3 personal Luis Diaz moments. Thought he was a great player at Liverpool, and it'd just be fun to sort of reminisce about the times he had with us. Only about 3.5 years, but a good 3.5 years. Obviously, Premier League winner. So, I'll do top 3. I think it's a fair number for sort of the second chunk of today's episode. My third favourite moment from Luis Diaz was the equaliser against Luton at the time when his dad was kidnapped. It's a crazy sentence, but this was my third favourite moment when I had a little look through all of Diaz's moments for Liverpool today. They were beating us 1-0. It was a massive game at the time because we were right there for the title. It was with Klopp, and Diaz having a really tough time. I think he came off the bench and he scored a header in basically the last 5 minutes. And it was a huge goal, big celebrations, and it was a big relief for him in a tough time. It's just a really nice moment, and I thought that was one necessary to bring up, given the circumstances. So that's number 3. He scored a few headers for us, Diaz, actually, when I was looking through his goals today. And that one was a header as well against Luton. And also, it was good not to let Luton beat us because they were horrible last year, so or the year before. So that was great as well. My second favourite moment for Luis Diaz was one that a lot of people like to post online, is the run against Man City, more specifically Walker and Rodri. This was a few years ago as well, in that same season with the Luton header. He gets the ball and really deep in our own half. I'm sure you've all seen it, and he just sets off running, and he's got Walker with him, who we know how fast Walker is. Shows a nice bit of skill, gets around Rodri, gets Walker running with him, runs right up the pitch, beats them both again a second time. They couldn't get the ball off him, and he goes for a cross, goes out for a corner. We only got a corner, we didn't even score from it, but it was just such a, I don't know, I don't want to say iconic moment, maybe it wasn't iconic, but it was a moment that epitomised Diaz. I think the hard-working nature, the industriousness of him. It reminded me a little bit of when Robbo did the pressing run against City, and he ran from player to player to player to player, and it sort of immediately shot him into Liverpool folklore. This is kind of similar to me, and it's just a really good moment to go and rewatch. He's so into it. He's knackered by the end. The crowd are loving it. It's a big game, Man City. Walker and Rodri, 2 great players, and yeah, it was just a good moment. But number 1, my favourite Luis Diaz moment of all time for Liverpool has got to be the hat-trick against Leverkusen the year just gone. I believe it was his only hat-trick for us. He was playing up front, so not his normal position, but this was kind of the first time we played him there last season, which is where he played a lot. And yeah, scored a hat-trick. It was brilliant. First goal was a lovely little chip. Second one was a nice sort of poacher's finish. Nothing crazy, just a bit of a tap in. And then the third, a ricochet that fell to him, and he just pops it in the net. But of course, he does so with a little no-look finish, like Bobby Firmino. And I just thought that was great. Beat them 4-0. Wirtz was playing, Frimpong was playing for Leverkusen. It was a big win. And yeah, it really, I think, was his best moment of last season, that hat-trick. Last season was his best season for us, I would say, apart from maybe them first 6 months where he was dynamite when we signed him before he got injured against Arsenal. Yeah, so just a little quick fire run through there of my personal favourite Luis Diaz moments, and I wish him all the best at Bayern Munich. Let me know what yours are in the comments, if you've got any others, if I've missed any. But yeah, I think there for me, some good moments from him. Little top 3 there. Before we move on today to the final topic of the day, a little quick Yokohama Marinos, or Marinos, I don't quite know how you say it. Let's just call them Yokohama. Match preview. So play these guys tomorrow in Japan. Japanese team. I think they're actually near the bottom of the Japanese league. They might even be bottom. And we've got them in the friendly tomorrow. It is at 11:30 a.m. UK time, I believe. If anyone fancies watching, I'm going to be watching after I finish work. I'm going to stay away from results, highlights, clips, anything, so I can watch it as though it's live when I'm finished. Should be quite fun. But yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Another friendly. It's nice to have the boys back once again. Um, and some kind of talking points for this one. We've got, will Ekatike make his debut? Will McAllister play? He's been training this week, for those who haven't seen. Will some of the players play more than 45 minutes now? So will we see Salah, Van Dijk, Wirtz, maybe, I don't know, Gravenberch again? Some of these players who are maybe first choice players, maybe get more than 45 minutes, maybe get 60, 70 minutes in the tank, to see if we can build up that fitness even more. And it'd be good to see Ekatike on the pitch as a focal point, as a number 9, make his debut. And obviously to have McAllister back for even just a little bit will be beautiful. I cannot wait to see him and Wirtz in the same team. That is going to be, ooh, that's going to be something good, let me tell you. One note about this game, Alisson has been sent home from the Liverpool camp. This is for personal reasons. It's not an injury. I'm not sure what's gone on, but wish him all the best. The guy seems to have had a really tough run of things. Like I said, don't know what the situation is now. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. But yeah, wishing him all the best. What a guy he is. And it'll be a shame if something bad has happened to him again and he has to go home as a result. But he has flown home and won't be playing tomorrow. So we'll probably see Mahmoud start. And likely we'll see Woodman in the second half when we take the goalkeeper off. So that's the game tomorrow. Really looking forward to it, and we will talk about it again after it's been played. If people want to see some more tactics like we saw today, going through some of the clips, I can do so. Maybe on Thursday, if people want to see that. If this video does well, people let me know, then I'll do it. If not, it might be more when we next play against Bilbao next Monday. So guys, with all of that said today, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop a like on it. Let me know, helps me out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's see how many we can get to from this video. That would be great. And drop a comment as well, guys. If you did enjoy, join us next time when we'll have much more content to come this season. And yeah, enjoy the game tomorrow, guys. That's all from me today. So until next time, guys, see you later. Bye.